selection of options from 5 leading garage door manufacturers as we deliver a free estimate, exact measurements, and rapid installation with a 3 to 5 week time frame. When you choose Doors Plus for your residential garage door needs, you'll work with our experienced technicians and be ensured that your new door seamlessly complements your home. Give us a call at 402-590-5800 or visit us online at doorsplusllc.com. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red!
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize to participate in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contests, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
93.7 The Ticket is your home for every Kansas City Royals baseball game. Bobby Witt Jr., Salvador Perez, Vinny Pasquantino, and the rest of the Royals attempt to make the postseason for the second season in a row. And you can hear all the action on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Your home for Kansas City Royals baseball. Old School with Foreman and Oerman.
Any tips for a dad who just volunteered to be a YMCA flag football coach less than a week before the season started because no one else had volunteered to coach the fifth graders up to that point?
Tylenol for your headache.
Put some in your cup. Put some in your cup, and make sure your contract is 1 year only.
Medicate, bro.
Frank Reich. Frank Reich at Stanford.
Yep.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman and Austin Oerman. Old School with Foreman and Oerman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Oh, welcome to it. Old School on a Tuesday. Couple hours for you before, how about this, folks? The coach, Tom Osborne, in studio for Teammates Timeout with Demo and Ash at 5 o'clock. In that vein, we will be giving away, I believe, 2 copies of Coach Osborne's book. We'll just start the show off with that. How about that? 402-464-5685. We will give the first copy of A Legacy of Leadership away to the first person in who can answer this question. How many times has Nebraska football been ranked in the final AP poll? 402-464-5685. First person in with the correct answer. How many times has Nebraska football been ranked in the final AP poll wins a copy of Coach Tom Osborne's book. I'm Austin Norman. To my left, your right if you're watching on any of our streams. Jake Bachhoven. Bach, thanks for filling in for Jay for a little bit here. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a good time of the year to do it. A lot of stuff going on in Husker football and college football, and I didn't even know Tom Osborne's coming in here. So one of the greatest of all time. Of course, the GOAT is certainly here at Nebraska coming in later today. It adds to the excitement.
We have 3 guesses so far. Westy, 8545, and Cubsker are all in the general neighborhood. I would say Westy and Cigar Guy are now probably the furthest away. MT Westy is on the north side of things with 47. Cigar Guy says 28. That is by far the lowest answer that we have so far. I will say, Derek and Akar, you are the closest with his guess of 41. That's all I'm going to give you. Go find the right answer. I found it within about 20 seconds of looking. And of course, this question comes from the subtitle of Legacy of Leadership, leading with the end in mind. Now, if I asked people how many times Nebraska won a national championship, if that would have been the question, everyone would have gotten it. So Dalton, you are correct. The answer is 48 times Nebraska has been ranked anywhere in the final AP poll. So Dalton, congratulations. We will put your name on a copy of this book. Swing by the station, 1040 O Street. Go ahead and pick that up. All right, Bach, let's get into some Nebraska football here. Under the radar Huskers entering the regular season. When I say under the radar, Huskers kind of oxymoronic, given how much we talk about Husker football, given how many times we go over the depth chart, under the depth chart, around the depth chart, through the depth chart. But if there's anyone that you think we haven't maybe talked enough about or is flying maybe a little bit under the radar, who are some of those guys that come to mind for you?
Yeah, I think there, obviously, again, we talk about just about everybody, but I think there's certain names that maybe even have popped up a little bit more as of recent that are going to play bigger roles than maybe compared to how much we talk about them. I think we kind of just blanket statement talk about the running backs behind Emmett, right? So certainly I think Mekhi Nelson and Isaiah Mosey would probably fit that description. Between the two of them, we don't know what to expect, but I do expect them to touch the ball plenty of times, throughout this season, and perhaps, one or both of them, you get your chance to shine, could end up being a feature back for Nebraska this year. And that's not to say anything about Emmett Johnson. I know he's already going to be involved heavily and is expected, but as we know, part of that big concern was what if he goes down, has to miss a game, or there's always the possibility you have somebody special in your grasp, and Mekhi Nelson and Mosey between the two of them that make them undeniable. So I'm not necessarily predicting that, but I do think those are some names to kind of think of. And then I think at wide receiver especially, I'm so intrigued by these long, lengthy wide receivers Nebraska has. Coach Holgerson was talking about how, he knows what to expect from the top three and really the top four, with Janiron Bonner in there as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm specifically interested in Jeremiah Jones, a true freshman who made the 3 deep at wide receiver, 6'4", 225. Definitely could use that size. But then Quinn Clark and Keelan Smith, throw them in as well. That's 3 freshmen, 2 of them redshirt, 1 of them true, between 6'3" and 6'5". And you just think about Nebraska over the years, they don't have a whole lot of lengthy wide receivers that have made a major contribution. Mm-hmm. Everybody likes to go back to Maurice Purify.
That's where I was going.
That's right. and as well you should. He was a great lengthy wide receiver.
Terrence Nunn. That was a 6'2", 6'3" guy, right?
Yeah.
But maybe not great.
Yeah. Solid though. Yeah. Solid receiver. And of course, last year that was kind of part of the plan.
Oh, he's only 6 foot. I take that back.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't remember how tall he was. But in any case, Banks and Nair were kind of expected to be that. I don't think they quite hit that kind of level that's going to, stay in our minds as far as, impact lengthy wide receivers. So Nebraska's got some young ones that could step up and maybe do that this year. And it's particularly interesting. Of course, Dane Key at 6'3" can kind of factor into that as going to your bigger bodied wide receiver as well. But if you can get a few of those guys, then you think about what the hope was last year. With Banks and Nair was if you've got that size, that should make perimeter blocking better or, bigger at the least. It did not. So a lot of that for those wide receivers is going to be able to, for freshman wide receivers, especially with that size, to be able to use that size to their strengths. But, those are the guys on offense that I specifically think maybe we could talk a little bit about more. Maybe we'll be talking about a little bit on Friday.
Coach Holgerson did mention that quote. I thought it was interesting about we're excited to see what we have behind those top 4 guys. And that leads me to wonder just how much are we going to see them on the field, right? Dane Key and Dylan Raiola seem like they've become pretty tight. Seems like there's a pretty good connection between those two. We know their roommates thing between Dylan and Ja'Cory as well. Isaiah Hunter, Matt Rule wasn't exactly going with him the last time we brought him up, but then Dana Holgerson said, yeah, Isaiah Hunter was what we expected when he came in. Then we heard last year during bowl practices, Quinn Clark is popping, Keelan Smith is popping. Look out for those 2 guys. But, Bach, we've seen and heard of plenty of talented receivers at Nebraska who can't get on the field for whatever reason, right? Omar Manning, it was the blocking, right? The perimeter blocking, was the focus always there. List goes on and on and on. I think Nebraska's in a good spot at the receiver position where if Clark, if Smith, maybe even Jones or Mills, the guy listed ahead of Jeremiah Jones, smaller body, but a pretty late flip for Nebraska in the recruiting process. If those guys get on the field, number one, I think it's going to be a testament to them that the coaching staff thinks they're ready, because this coaching staff and other coaching staffs have kept talented players off the field because of this one little thing. And I'm not saying the little stuff doesn't matter or shouldn't matter. It absolutely has to matter. But receivers, a position where Nebraska's needed a game breaker. Jamal Banks, solid, not a game breaker. Billy Kemp, solid, not a game breaker. Samori Toure, had his moments, absolutely, probably the most consistent of that batch, but still had a couple, 1 or 2 catch games and would bust out in a big way with a 100-yard game. I think that if those guys get on the field for Nebraska, number one, it's going to be a good sign for their development. But then as we look ahead to next year, will Nebraska go back and recruit over them in the transfer portal, where Nebraska's had great success finding wide receivers to come in and play? Or will Nebraska go all Clemson and say, you know what, you've been in our program. This will be your third year next year. Show's yours. Stage is yours. Go take it over, young guys.
Yeah, and I think, it's been a long time. You can go over the years. Nebraska has their leading receiver has been a transfer, a rental, if you put it that way. Going back several years, I think that maybe Toure did start that maybe in 2021.
And then, of course, the Trey Palmer.
Yeah. So, it's just kind of been that way. And it would help if Nebraska is able to develop some of these guys and that's what's exciting about them. It's not just the fact that they have, athletic big bodies, is that, it could be something where Nebraska is able to actually develop some of these guys. And of course, you got a new wide receivers coach in town. So, kind of going back to Tim Miles' quote there, don't put any of that on me.
Long forgotten quote.
Yes. I always love it, though, because it is fair. The demons that we hold here at Nebraska, even over the last several years, to the new guys is, that has nothing to do with them. So hopefully they're able to come in here and be able to bring some of that talent up. I didn't mention, like you said, Cortez Mills, only because I think that he, gets talked about maybe a little bit more, just because, true freshman, always expected to be one of the immediate impact players in that. That's not to undersell what he's done already to be, where he is as the top backup to Dane Key on the depth chart. That's a big deal. So, his name certainly should be brought up in there too. I'm really interested to see in the rotation, though, because you've got 4 veterans, and then you kind of talk about mixing in some of the younger guys. How much is that is going to be there? We heard from Dana Holgerson the other day what those oars on the depth chart means heavy rotation for some of those positions. Well, those oars aren't there at all in the depth chart. Not with the starters, not with the backups. So I'm interested to see too, is there pretty clear separation between, say, a Quinn Clark and a Cortez Mills, who are listed as the 2s, and maybe like a Keelan Smith and a Jeremiah Jones, who are listed as the 3s, or are they all going to be kind of get the same type of opportunity? That'll be a little bit of something to follow there with the, kind of looking deeper into the depth chart, but it will be exciting. And this is a game, and these are early time in the season, particularly Akron and Houston Christian, more so when, you're going to expect it to have more of a cushion to try to get those players out there and see what they can do. But this is a game, and I hope that this is the case, that one of these guys, maybe the running back situation I was talking about earlier, we have quite a bit to talk about going into next week, and that somebody among the group that we just talked about now has broken out, has a performance that makes you go, okay, this is a big time member of the roster. Just because, it would add to the weaponry that Nebraska has that we feel is going to be good for Dylan Raiola. But it's still, I don't know. I'm excited about the wide receivers. I think, there's reason to be, but I'm still a little bit burnt maybe from the excitement of last year's wide receivers, which didn't turn out to be as exciting. I want to see what Barney can do with maybe a little bit more weapons around him. They pass the ball, they dump the ball off to him so many times. He's a smaller guy to take so many hits that he did. I think it would be spectacular if maybe the volume's a little less, but the production as far as yards is equal or more.
Yeah, lower volume, maybe higher efficiency.
Yeah.
Higher yards per catch and yards after the catch. Ja'Cory did get hospital balled quite a few times, but I don't know if I've ever seen a guy get laid out as often as Wandale Robinson did.
Oh, yeah.
That dude took a beating.
Between him and J.D. Spielman, there was a few games, they're just throwing that over the middle and kept doing it. I was like, man, I don't know if I can watch this. And then obviously both those guys end up saying, yeah, we're not doing this.
Enough for me.
They didn't finish their careers here.
I'm glad you bring up Isaiah Mosey, listed as the true number 3 on the depth chart. And what that means for Quentin Ives, who was really the number 2.5 maybe in the bowl game last year, scored the touchdown against Boston College. You ever hate to say the writing's on the wall? Matt Rule is probably going to fight to keep a guy like that around into the offseason. But I think that we've maybe let that slide down, that Quentin Ives was a guy they were really excited about. They talked up, he's fast, he's strong, he's the total package as a running back. He just needs to get experience. And here he is, passed by a guy who made the switch to running back, late spring or in the summer, of his own volition, is now the third string guy in Isaiah Mosey. And we know third string running backs get some reps. Johnson and Nelson are going to get the bulk of the carries. But I'm curious to see, with Isaiah Mosey making that position switch, just how involved does he get in the offense? And then especially, too, because he's listed as a kick returner. This seems to be a young guy this coaching staff's really high on.
Yeah, and that's, and it kind of keeps, kind of talks that brings the Quentin Ives discussion back to it too, is that usually, and that's what I mean, what do you want to see this, I'm hesitant to even, like Mekhi Nelson, I'm excited about, but the history of Nebraska football, and really just anywhere that you kind of look at, is that if guys are going to make a mark on a program long-term at running back, they usually kind of come in with that sort of ability, playmaking ability, athleticism that kind of elevates them up the depth chart to give those opportunities in year one. We've rarely seen redshirt freshmen or redshirt seasons for running backs turn into, top 10, top 15 career rushing yards leaders. That's not to say it can't happen. I'm excited to see what Mekhi Nelson does. But that's why I'm particularly excited about Mosey, because that's kind of what they're saying is he's undeniable. We got to get him the ball in open space. Okay, and you can watch that in high school. Of course, you want to see how that translates to Nebraska. It's been a while since Nebraska's had an undeniable true freshman running back to say you got to play him. Remember Amir? Amir was a kick returner right out of the gate, and you knew, okay, well, Rex is here, so he might not get the bulk of the carries, but that's a guy that I want to see get the ball.
Up.
Right. And it did lead to carries for him. So, that's the type of thing. Again, you don't want to take everything away from game one. Guys can develop, guys can get better. And obviously, they might only get 3 or 4 carries this game. So limited sample size is going to be a part of this as well. But I just hope that there is a guy or two that flashes to the point that you're like, oh, yeah, that's different than what we have or have had, and we need to get him the ball.
Absolutely. I think you probably have to go back to Maurice Washington at the running back position in terms of freshmen, which maybe there's more nuance and more complexity to the position than I give credit for. But it seems like that's a position where he should be able to just hand a guy the ball and say, go get him, if he's good enough. I know it's all dependent on line and blocking and whatnot, but it seems like Nebraska's freshmen haven't necessarily come in and either mastered enough of the detail or had enough of that game-breaking ability that they were undeniable in terms of the snaps. The other place I want to go on offense here real quick, Bach, is to the offensive line. And it's to the guard position. We've talked a lot about center right Justin Evans sliding over. We know the starters at guard, Lutovsky on the left side, and of course transfer Rocco Spindler on the right side. But Jason Mishashak, his second year in the program, someone that the coaching staff has been pretty high on. And then Grant Bricks, one of the jewels of that recruiting class from 2024, it would have been. He's on the roster. He's a redshirt freshman right now. We know offensive linemen get banged up. Those are two huge bodies there that could be backing up there in Mishashak, 6'3", 310, and Bricks at 6'6", 315. Mishashak came in a little bit lower profile out of, I believe, North Dakota, but staff has moved him back and forth between offense and defense. And then, of course, Grant Bricks, right? One of those jewels of that recruiting class. I'm sure both these guys will see the field. I'm curious to see how it goes for him early on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what I do like across the offensive line is there's no small bodies or like working toward Big Ten bodies, right? And that's part of it for these younger guys that you mentioned at sophomores, redshirt freshmen that are hitting the 2 deep, the 3 deep now, is that they've had that time in the weight room to get Big Ten ready. And so are they completely there? Experience is going to have to be part of it. And that's trial by fire. Everybody kind of has to go through that part. But it at least looks like, they kind of have the builds necessary, needed, and you have to expect that they've done, part of it. Some guys can come into high school, 300 pounds, but is it the right 300 pounds, right? So you hope that as they've kind of gone through, Husker Power in the weight room and all that, they've been able to mold their bodies ready to go here. And no doubt, I mean, if you are a second teamer now, you're an injury away from playing, and and the coaches have to believe in you there. So, they've got a lot of depth. They've talked about depth, especially at tackle, still trying to iron out the starters there. And so I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, we've talked about Corcoran for years as maybe an option at guard if need be. So I think that would be another interesting thing if a position did happen to come open one way or the other. Would he be another option there as well? But, those younger guys are definitely going to get an opportunity to fight for that spot.
On the tackle positions, really quick, maybe this is the wrong way to phrase the question. I'm asking anyways. Do you have a preference from your vantage point who starts at either tackle spot for Nebraska on Thursday?
I've thought for a long time that Corcoran probably would be a better guard. I know a lot of people have kind of thought that. So if he's still the best tackle option for them, then I think we kind of know what we got, other than add in the injury in return from that, which is something that I've been a little bit concerned about over the years, is that they haven't been able to push those guys. Him and Ben Hart before him, and so that's been a kind of a concern in the program, is did it even stunt their development by playing them so early? So I don't want to say I'm cheering for Corcoran, but I just always thought that he was going to play guard, and so the fact that he's at tackle makes you kind of wonder. Obviously, you don't want to strike out. I don't want to say strike out, but overpay, I suppose, 2 years in a row on the offensive line. It seems through some of the comments in the past that maybe Micah Mazuka could have got paid a little bit more than what his production was last year. And obviously Elijah Pritchett has probably got paid pretty well to come over to Nebraska. So you want to get something out of it. But I guess I wouldn't be overly concerned if that's not the case. I'd rather them just cut it off. If it's not if he's not the best tackle for the game, and not ready there, maybe he's got a higher ceiling. Maybe you can continue to work with him in all that. But I want the best two that are out there. So I wouldn't say preference. I obviously would have some feelings as I've kind of went through to sort through and to kind of think about in different ways. I really like Gunnar Katula from what we saw from him. So I'd like to see for his own development to kind of continue moving forward. And how could you not cheer for Tyler Prohaska, similar to Corcoran, who's stuck through some injuries to stay here for Nebraska. So, everyone's kind of got even Kanakis and had injuries. So, everyone's kind of got their own story. So I like you said, it's tough to kind of ask that question. It's tough to kind of answer that question. I think if you had asked me maybe a month ago, when maybe the feelings are less connected to it, then yeah, I'd like to see probably Pritchett out there, and to me it was Gatula. Those were the two that I thought coming into camp would have had the best chance. But maybe given the most upside as far as kind of long term, Gatula kind of being a younger guy, Pritchett, we kind of know the case there. So I guess that would be maybe my ideal, but I'm not going to be overly concerned. I just want the two best tackles out there.
I tend to agree with you, except that I'm just kind of over the Turner Corcoran and Teddy Prohaska conversations. Turner Corcoran has not gotten where Husker fans thought he was going to get. Maybe he was never going to get there. Maybe the injuries have really stunted him. I don't know, whatever the situation and the combination of factors are. He hasn't gotten there. I'm at the same point with Turner Corcoran as I was with Gabe Ervin. Anything you get from him is gravy. That's where I'm at. It's where I have to be. Relatively highly touted, had moments here and there. Of course, Corcoran got on the field as a freshman, some pretty big moments, but between lack of development, consistency, injuries, all that stuff, just hasn't been able to put it all together. That heart breaks for the young man. He's rated as highly as he was for a reason, but at this point, I don't feel like he's one of Nebraska's most reliable options. If he is, more power to him, more credit to him for sticking through it. Credit to the staff, right? They love to stick by their guys. And I love that about this Nebraska staff, that they're not going to write a guy off or encourage him to enter the transfer portal just because the outside noise would say, oh, you're not good enough. Oh, you're injured. What's the point? Why are you on the roster? I love and I respect that about this Nebraska coaching staff. But man, when is it time? To your point, if they haven't had anyone to kick Turner Corcoran out of that conversation or clearly surpass him, that's a problem. Same thing with Teddy Prohaska. 6'10", multiple knee injuries. If he's Nebraska's best option at tackle, on the one hand, maybe it's good for him. Absolutely. Right. If he's earned it, if he's back to, pre-injury testing numbers or even better, great. More power to it. Do you believe that, Bach? Because I'm not sure I do. Even not being on the inside, I'm nervous every time Teddy Prohaska takes the field. 6'10" is maybe a little too tall for my preference for a tackle. And if he's out there, at least to me, it would feel like Nebraska had to go to him, not, oh my gosh, yes, Nebraska got Teddy Prohaska back there running behind him on 3rd and 1.
Yeah, I mean, that's an altogether interesting conversation. Remember, because he was kind of thought to be the starter going in, but that wasn't necessarily the case, in which they kind of let us know early. And then the injuries kind of got in the way of that, going back to last year, dating back to last year's injury. I mean, I could probably agree with kind of your sentiment there. If Corcoran and Nebraska are the starters, you would just wonder if they've kind of gotten over the tackle problem, right?
Mhm.
Which I think hasn't been as big, at times, but again, it just has been it's been stuck in neutral, right? It's just kind of been the same guys that have been solid, not spectacular, and it's one of the most important positions on the field. So, especially on that offensive line. So you want to at some point kind of take those steps forward. And if those two are still your best options and now are more beat up than they maybe have ever been, then that's probably not the greatest look. So I mean, I could agree with that. Obviously, would still be cheering for them, but you just kind of get into the situation of if they do start to struggle, then you're just kind of back to how has this not changed? Now, I will say this: as much as we are getting excited about the offensive line and some of the quotes that have come out, I think it has been a little bit overlooked or misremembered that Nebraska at one time did look or appear to be pretty desperate in the offensive line market.
Mm-hmm.
So they ended up with Pritchett, they ended up with Spindler, and I think those are some big time gets, but they weren't their first picks necessarily. So
Rocco might have been, but I don't think it was Pritchett at tackle at the very least, because they were in on, was it Isaiah World that I think ended up going to
everybody was
Oregon,
in on him, especially. But yeah. So I mean, I just think I think that's something to kind of remember if that offensive line doesn't improve a whole lot, or because I think there were several guys that they at least reportedly, that time of transfer portal bidding is so interesting, and everything changes minute to minute or hour to hour, much less day to day. But it seemed like they were after several other targets before kind of landing on these guys. And not to say that means anything as far as, when you actually get them to campus and get them rolling. It's just kind of going back to that conversation of, okay, well, if Prohaska and Corcoran are still the answers there, maybe part of it was just not being able to land those guys in the portal in the offseason.
He's Bach. I'm Austin. This is Old School, brought to you by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Jay Foreman is on his way. We'll go over under the radar players on defense. Sweet music to Jay's ears. That'll be second segment of the first hour of Old School.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Oerman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. 93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see mainly sunny skies with light winds. Afternoon high around 79. Tonight, partly cloudy skies and calm winds, below around 58. And tomorrow, a slight chance of showers throughout the day. Otherwise, partly sunny skies with a light breeze and a high near 78. I'm meteorologist Kyle Flecker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Boxing is back this Saturday with no nonsense at the Complex. The Midwest's best professional boxers will display their best performances, with hometown favorites Clyde Godzilla Johnson and Jack Lawless Frericks among the boxers. Get your tickets at thecomplexlincoln.com, where you can live stream the event as well. Doors open at 6 p.m. with first bout at 7 p.m. this Saturday, August 30th at the Complex at 1555 Yolanda Avenue.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstoRats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Play ball!
Ready for summer fun and ballpark vibes? Bring your pack to Haymarket Park for a thrilling season of Lincoln Salt Dogs baseball and unleash the fun. From May through August, the Lincoln Salt Dogs will be playing and the park will be popping with all the food, drinks, and fun you need for the perfect night out. Grab your friends, family, and coworkers and make plans now. Visit saltdogs.com to secure your tickets. Come on out to the park and unleash the fun.
From the capital to castles, starting this December, fly nonstop from Lincoln to Orlando with service from Breeze Airways. That's right, nonstop flights to Orlando out of LNK are starting this December. You're now just a flight away from Disney World, Universal Studios, Legoland, and the Space Coast. Stretch out and relax on Breeze with complimentary family seating. Book your magical getaway now at LincolnAirport.com. LNK, make flying easy.
Schweizo Construction is now hiring for skilled craftsmen, steel erectors, concrete workers, and general laborers. Schweizo Construction offers great benefits like premium wages, health and dental insurance, paid holidays and vacation, 401k with company match, life insurance, and disability insurance. They pride themselves on a legacy of 40 years built on integrity and trust. Joining their team means becoming part of a family that values hard work, dedication, and mutual respect. Apply today at schweizo.com. That's SCHWISOW.com.
Hi, my name is Molly Party. I'm a realtor with MP Dodge Real Estate. I'm a newly licensed agent and considered numerous brokerages before deciding on MP Dodge. I chose the company that gives me the most support in my new career, plus guidance and encouragement along the way. MP Dodge has a unique mentoring program for new agents. It's helped jumpstart my career and has a supportive management team and administrative staff. So if you're contemplating a career in real estate, look no further than MP Dodge. It will be the best decision you make.
Are you looking to upgrade or improve the garage door on your home? This is Cameron Hall of Doors Plus. At Doors Plus, we guarantee to offer a wide selection of options from 5 leading garage door manufacturers as we deliver a free estimate, exact measurements, and rapid installation with a 3 to 5 week time frame. When you choose Doors Plus for your residential garage door needs, you'll work with our experienced technicians and be ensured that your new door seamlessly complements your home. Give us a call at 402-590-5800 or visit us online at DoorsPlusLLC.com. Doors Plus, garage doors, and more.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with the child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Oerman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Well, just like we did last segment, got another copy of the Legacy of Leadership to give away. Of course, that's Coach Tom Osborne's book. The first question was, how many times has Nebraska football been ranked in the final AP poll? Dalton nailed the answer with the answer of 48 times. The next question, if you want your chance to win Legacy of Leadership, we'll give this to texter number 5. What is Nebraska's winning percentage in bowl games? What is Nebraska's winning percentage in bowl games? 402-464-5685. Austin Norman, Jake Bachhoven with you here on 93.7 The Ticket for Old School. Flipping sides of the ball under the radar guys on defense box, since we spent the whole first segment on offense. He's a black shirt. He's a name we've talked about a lot, but I think he's just kind of been lumped into the conversation. I think people forget that Nebraska landed a Conference Defensive Player of the Year in Marquise Watson-Trent. 5'11", 225, similar dimensions to Stephon Thompson, who didn't make a huge impact for Nebraska last year, despite his familiarity with Tony White's 3-3-5, the scheme, and all that. I know he's not the biggest guy, but it does kind of feel like Husker fans have let Marquise Watson-Trent slide under the radar, in part because of all the excitement around Vincent Shavers Jr. from the end of last year. The conversation around Jacob Bauer maybe in the spring getting a scholarship, Javen Wright moving to linebacker. The most proven, the truest linebacker in that group, though, is the one Nebraska landed out of the portal in last year's Sun Belt Defensive Player of the Year, Marquise Watson-Trent.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought that up because I feel like that's been the case all offseason. I completely agree with you. I mean, how often can you land a Defensive Player of the Year of a conference? And it just didn't get a whole lot of fan excitement. Now, I think a lot of it is just his height, and his weight, which he hates. I'm sure by now he's had to prove himself outside of that. His whole career, and he's going to continue to do so. He's just got a nose for the ball. and I can't wait to see what he does out there. Obviously earned a black shirt. And so he's going to be a big key to this defense. I still think that he'll probably lead the team in tackles. We'll see. Obviously part of that's going to depend. He did have the OR on his depth chart too, next to Vincent Shaver. So, if they kind of continue playing that same spot, there might be a lot of rotation just because of the talent that's in that room. So we'll have to wait and see there. But yeah, I've been somewhat taken aback by the fact that there's not more hype around Marquise Watson-Trent. And again, the only thing that you can point to, partially Sun Belt, right? Maybe people are just don't believe in it unless it happens in Big Ten play. But again, he did play Nebraska. He got double-digit tackles in that game, so he's already kind of shown it in small examples or small sample sizes against bigger opponents before. But I'm surprised that he does not is not maybe close to one of the kind of the face of the defense. I don't even know who you would say the face of the defense would be. I think to a degree, people have kind of felt like maybe Riley Van Poppel's that guy after he got the single-digit jersey number, and then that's kind of what I've seen from people. Today is just like, well, how did he not get a black shirt? He's got to get a black shirt, and it's like, well, I don't know if he's necessarily that. I mean, he redshirted last year.
Well, he's not the starter,
right? And he's not even a starter at this point. So it's just kind of interesting to see that. I think Marquise Watson-Trent not only could lead Nebraska in tackles, but among the group that I just looked like preseason, who's had the best chance to make it all Big Ten, I think he could be that guy too. So maybe if it were up to me, I'd be overhyping him. But yeah, he does seem a little bit underhyped.
114, 122, and 120 combined tackles for Marquise Watson-Trent across the last 3 seasons, as well as 27 tackles for loss. You add in 6 sacks, 2 interceptions. One of them returned for a touchdown back in 2023, 6 passes defended, and 6 forced fumbles, 4 of them coming last year, primarily in Sun Belt Conference play. That's the kind of playmaker and ball hawk that I think Nebraska needs to fill that hole in the middle of the defense there. Bach, especially a 3-3-5. Talk about how important the linebacker's job is. John Bullock, good player, made some plays for Nebraska at times last year. Of course, right before him and with him, Luke Reimer and Nick Henrich alongside 2 pretty darn solid linebackers. Reimer, I think, especially in terms of his impact and playmaking ability. Of course, the injuries that hampered Nick Heinrich throughout his Nebraska career. Nebraska's had some dudes at linebacker in the last handful of years, and they haven't had to go to the transfer portal for it necessarily. I think that guy in Marquise Watson-Trent has a big role to play. Elsewhere on the defense, Andrew Marshall kind of feels underhyped. Again, maybe it's the small school transfer up from Idaho, but I feel like we heard a lot more at this point last year, or at least before the knee injury in the spring game, about Bly Hill. Oh, his athletic traits, 6'4", 200. He's long, he's lengthy, he can run. Feel like we heard more about, obviously, Tommy Hill. I think his transition from wide receiver to cornerback. Oh, yeah, Tommy's going to be the guy as a transfer. I would say Sierra Wright has maybe taken on face of the defense responsibilities. Sure. With no disrespect meant to Deshaun Singleton, to Marquise Buford, or even to Malcolm Hartzog. Either way, I think it's the back 5 in the 3-3-5 they've taken on the face of the defense role. But Andrew Marshall, what did we talk about when Nebraska landed him for the most part? Oh, he is really good as a punt returner. Watch out for him in the return game. That's where he's going to make an impact for Nebraska. Here he is, day 1 starter in Blackshirt for the Huskers. I think that's gone under the radar.
Yeah, no, I think you make a lot of good points there. And I'm guilty of that punt return discussion because obviously Nebraska was abysmal in special teams last year. We were hoping to get a jump start there. And Andrew Marshall now listed second on the depth right there. Punt return. Of course, Ja'Cory Barney has the goal to lead the nation in punt return yardage. And so I'm excited to see what he can kind of bring too. But yeah, I mean, I think that it's maybe a story that's gone undercovered, maybe partially because, like you said, where he came from. But I feel like there's less. You just want to see it here, right? And it was the same kind of thing, like you said, with Marquise Watson-Trent. Marshall just doesn't have quite those numbers even to kind of really argue, hey, well, no, this is gonna, he's got a nose for the ball. He's definitely gonna be that guy. If he had 8 career interceptions or something, I think there'd be a little bit more talk about it. And then I think the other thing too is just. It was kind of an interesting ride last year with Sierra Wright, like you said, probably taking over the face of the defense role now. And I remember just kind of going throughout the season because remember Tommy Hill, that after that big performance against Colorado, there was publications out there saying, yeah, first round draft pick and all this sort of stuff. So as he continued to struggle and as Sierra continued to look better, it kind of this discussion point of like, who's the best cornerback on the roster right now? Is it Sierra Wright? How could you say that if Tommy Hill's gonna, he's a little bit banged up, he'll be better here. And obviously, I hope Tommy Hill, finds his way, is able to get, to play some football down the line if that's what he wants to do. But I think that maybe that also kind of throws a little bit part of the cornerback discussion off, because it was like, man, we really thought we kind of knew what we had going into last year, who's going to be the best corner. And then by the end of the year, we didn't.
We did not. And part of that, of course, due to the injury to Tommy Hill, Sierra Wright certainly flashed. But that's maybe where I want to see it again from Sierra Wright, because like you said, Tommy Hill had a couple good games to start the year. Then the injury got him. Sierra Wright burst onto the scene. Sticking in the defensive backfield, nickel. I think it's gotten underappreciated that that's Malcolm Hartzog Jr.'s position. I have said through most of last year into this year, pick a position, and I keep comparing him to Kenny Moore of the Colts. Partially because of the stature. Kenny Moore is not a huge dude. I think he went undrafted or a late round pick out of a small college. That will not be the case for Malcolm Hartzog, obviously playing at Nebraska. I like Hartzog's ball skills. I think he's a good player who's competed, who's held his own at cornerback on the outside, and who's played some safety for Nebraska and certainly had some flashes of productivity. But I think playing inside more often, being a nickel, is going to be the best role for him. Jameer Khan behind him is a guy we haven't talked a bunch about. Another, I think, super under the radar transfer from a lower level that ends up cracking the two deep. But I'm fascinated to see if Malcolm Hartzog Jr. plays a factor at all in their return game. He's not listed there. That was maybe a big selling point for him coming out of high school. But at the very least, I think he settled into that nickel role pretty well. And I would say he's finally home at Nebraska.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, between him and Buford, and, obviously we know Coach John Butler was part of moving them around from their previous positions the previous years. But I always felt like he was a better corner than he was a safety. And then I felt the opposite for Buford, who was moved to corner, and I thought he was a better safety. Now back home at safety. So more so than anything with both those guys, like you said, I just hope they kind of found their home. And I do think that you're right. Malcolm Hartzog fits in perfectly there at the nickel position. You look at the cornerback depth chart, and everybody's 6 foot or over. Malcolm Hartzog being in there at the nickel, along with Jameer Khan, 5'11" and under. Like you said, Hartzog 5'9". So that it can kind of help you match up with the slot. I think he's done a pretty good job. He's kind of having a nose for the ball. Doesn't always make the tackle, but at least can at times slow the ball handler down. So I think that's a solid spot for him. And more than anything, I was kind of wondering what they were going to do with the rover position. I had seen certain prognostications or thoughts that maybe Hartzog would play that. And I was thinking, well, that's going to be a completely, that's a different look than what you would have with Isaac Gifford. I think Deshaun Singleton fits that role a lot better. And, there was talk about the first couple of years where they did have success with the 3-3-5, that they did maybe want more of a defensive back and less of a linebacker defensive back hybrid that Gifford was. And I wouldn't say Singleton's quite that, but he's kind of a thumper, right? So that's kind of, it's kind of a similar player, similar style there. So, can kind of maybe pick up where things were left off a little bit better. But yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think between Singleton, Hartzog, and Buford, they're all probably in their best positions. And it's great. It's great to have versatility. It's great to have that experience. It'll probably come in handy. Maybe there will be some injuries that pop up and you have to move some people around. But at some point you want to settle in on a position, and for those guys, give them credit because they've kind of fought through it, and they of course want to be versatile too. But to finally find a home here and maybe put your best foot forward here in the final season is a blessing for them.
Last thought on this before we hit our second break of the hour. Punt returner. Ja'Cory Barney Jr. listed as the number 1 punt returner, not an or alongside Andrew Marshall. Bach, when you think about what Mike Eckler wants to accomplish in special teams, obviously get better. Do you like seeing Ja'Cory Barney Jr.'s name up there first as punt returner?
Yeah, I do. I think that they were trying all they could to get the shifty player, the fast player, the ball in space, and he would just get tattooed a lot. The 55 catches, only averaging I think 8 yards a catch. You could see it throughout a game, and it was always one of those things where like he's this way from breaking away. And if we can just kind of get him out there in space. So they tried to do that over and over and over again. Well, this is one, position where it naturally is going to happen. Now, Nebraska's not the only team across the country that has figured out this Australian punter thing. And over the years as well, just kind of figured out different ways. Sam Cook was one of the kind of the leaders in this in the NFL. Find different ways to mitigate punt returning or the amount of opportunities that are going to be there. So I don't think it's a position that maybe matters as much as it once did. It's also a position there, thanks to that halo role, you don't get knocked out like that you used to as well. So I could see some concerns about putting him back there. Dylan Edwards, the first game for Kansas State got hurt on a punt return that he muffed. But in any case, it can happen. But I think Barney, I think you've got enough depth at wide receiver. You've got some guys maybe that could fill in his role. It's not a situation where I think he's like too valuable to put back at punt return. In fact, with all the close games and the turnaround that you want to have on special teams, I think he's the perfect pick.
Darren Rogers, you end up winning the second copy of Coach Osborne's book. The answer: 50%. Nebraska's 500 in bowl games with the win over Boston College. Huskers reached 27-27. Jay Foreman says he is very close. We'll go to break. Rope in the Husker Hall of Famer. Bach, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it. More Husker football talk on the way ahead on Old School.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Oerman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in, temperature-controlled high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars. That's Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Hi, my name is Molly Party. I'm a realtor with MP Dodge Real Estate. I'm a newly licensed agent and considered numerous brokerages before deciding on MP Dodge. I chose the company that gives me the most support in my new career, plus guidance and encouragement along the way. MP Dodge has a unique mentoring program for new agents. It's helped jumpstart my career and has a supportive management team and administrative staff. So if you're contemplating a career in real estate, look no further than MP Dodge. It will be the best decision you make.
When the clock strikes 0 after every Nebraska football game, there's only one place to go for instant coverage. Tune in for the Husker After Party Postgame Show on 93.7 The Ticket for each game, win or lose. Call in with all your takes or text the show at 464-5685 and hear quotes from the players and coaches too. It's the Husker After Party Postgame Show. Sponsored by Anderson Ford and Vinny Kreekak of State Farm Insurance.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red!
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
If one of the things running through your mind as a business owner is the recurring worry of possible cyber attacks, you can let out a sigh of relief. Hamilton Business Technologies has you covered. As the official business IT partner of the Huskers, we offer real-time threat monitoring, advanced security protocols, and more to keep your data safe from harm. We care about the success of Nebraska businesses and communities like yours. Learn how we can help you at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Anderson Ford in Lincoln has 2 convenient locations, which means 2 times the customer service, 2 times the inventory, and 2 times the ability to get you in the car of your dreams. Whether you visit us on the north side or the south side, you'll find more selection and a team that's always on your side. When you're looking for a better way to buy your next Ford, visit Anderson Ford in Lincoln, where exceptional service meets unbeatable selection.
Big news, Nebraska. Love Omaha is now Love Nebraska. This is more than just a new name. It's a tribute to what Nebraska represents in the world of volleyball. It's still the same team with the same mission, led by players you know and love. Now backed by a new ownership group led by Jordan Larson. As Love Nebraska, they're entering an exciting new chapter, pushing for a championship title in 2026 and building new opportunities for the next generation of players across the state. They want you with them. Let's show the world how Nebraska plays volleyball. Join the movement at lovneb.com and sign up to become a Love Nebraska Insider today. Nebraska football opens their season on Thursday, August 28th in Kansas City, and you can be a part of the best pregame tailgate party with Blur Events, live from Kauffman Stadium, home of the Royals. Doors open 4 hours before kickoff with a live DJ promoting interactive competitions and giveaways, tailgate games like cornhole, flip cup, and beer pong, access to ballpark concessions, and available air conditioning. Book your tickets today at blurevents.com/Kansas City and hang with 93.7 The Ticket on the scene prior to Nebraska versus Cincinnati on August 28th.
Play ball!
Ready for summer fun and ballpark vibes? Bring your pack to Haymarket Park for a thrilling season of Lincoln Salt Dogs baseball and unleash the fun. From May through August, the Lincoln Salt Dogs will be playing and the park will be popping with all the food, drinks, and fun you need for the perfect night out. Grab your friends, family, and coworkers and make plans now. Visit saltdogs.com to secure your tickets. Come on out to the park and unleash the fun.
It's game on at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Nebraska's premier power sports dealership. Stocking top models from Can-Am, Kawasaki, Honda, Polaris, CF Moto, Suzuki, Yamaha, Indian Motorcycle, Sea-Doo, and Triton trailers. Score big on our massive selection of Can-Am side-by-sides with rebates up to $3,000 on select in-stock models. Elway Power Sports of Lincoln has you covered all under one roof with a large selection of side-by-sides, ATVs, motorcycles, and personal watercraft at their 27th and I-80 location. They can't wait to get you set up for football season.
Back to old school with Foreman and Oerman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back to it. Wrapping up hour one of Old School. Austin Norman here, joined by Jay Foreman. Jay, what's good?
What's happening?
Oh, a lot's happening. We got $30 of Buffalo Wings and Rings to give away here.
Lucky.
So we're just going to ask you a trivia question. You're coming in hot, so we'll just ask the text line this question. How many FBS quarterbacks recorded a game with 425 passing yards and another game with 125 rushing yards in 2024? How many FBS quarterbacks recorded at least one game with 425 passing yards and at least one game with 125 rushing yards last season? 402-464-5685. First person in with the answer will win the $30 to Buffalo Wings and Rings. Jay, we got this from the text line here from 1171. Looking at Nebraska's schedule, where would you rank Cincinnati's passing attack versus what Nebraska might see from other teams this year?
That's a good question. I would say I think their tight end is decent. So
Joe Royer is his name for those out there. Got the Colorado State transfer that can fly.
Yeah, they got a speedy receiver. I'll just say just skill, just pieces wise, definitely above middle of the road. I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Better than Akron.
Better than
Houston Christian. Probably better than Michigan. That's a wild card. Maybe not talent-wise.
That's a toss-up because the Indiana, the everything I've heard, the Indiana transfer that's at Michigan is having a heck of a camp.
Okay.
Michigan does have their backup tight end is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Now they have a freshman quarterback.
Yeah.
And Cincinnati doesn't. And they have a quarterback that's more of a dual threat.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give the edge to Cincinnati, but that could be different by the time we play them.
Michigan State.
Aiden Childs, their passing attack was probably comparable to Nebraska's last year, but I feel Nebraska's skill position now that what our guys now are significantly better than what they have. So Cincinnati. I'll give Cincinnati the leg up there.
Maryland.
That's a wild card because on a normal year, I would say definitely no.
Mm-hmm.
But their starting quarterback is somewhere else. Their starting running back is somewhere else.
Lost a stud receiver.
And they lost their left tackle.
Yeah.
Cincinnati.
Minnesota with Drake Lindsay, the presumptive starter.
I think Minnesota has good receiver. I would say just on GP, including Taylor, the running back, Minnesota's pass because he's a really good threat out of the backfield.
Yeah.
I'll just say Minnesota's.
Northwestern.
That's totally two different things because they're, you need 6 yards, we're running an 8-yard comeback. So I'll say Cincinnati.
USC.
No, USC is better.
UCLA.
Oh, well, first of all, Cincinnati's is better than Northwestern. I want to make that clear.
Yeah.
UCLA, well, the quarterback advantage, I'll just give it to Nico.
Okay.
They lost their tight end, and that was their guy.
The dude.
They have the running back that's kind of like Taylor from Minnesota. He'd run a little bit, but that was all set up by the quarterback that ran really well, and he was a senior that's gone. I'm going to say Cincinnati just because who knows who UCLA has. Just the quarterback, and that's it. Right. Now, if he's that good, he raises the level of a bunch of guys that didn't play or really weren't productive last year with a new old coordinator, more power to him. Again, that would be a different story at that time.
Penn State, probably taking Penn State. And then Iowa.
Well,
that's going to be interesting because of Gronowski.
That's
how much he can elevate him.
Right. Well, they got a tight end.
Yeah.
That's period.
Yeah.
I'm going to say Cincinnati for the known factor. Yes, this is probably the best quarterback Iowa's had since Beathard.
CJ
Beathard. That's not saying much, but he's actually...
Nate Stanley? Can I interest you in Nate Stanley?
Not really.
Good, same.
I think that's... I'll probably say Cincinnati. I mean, look, Cincinnati's going to pose problems.
That's like third or fourth best. Probably that Nebraska will face.
And
certainly top half, like you said, first game.
Yeah. I mean, we'll dive into it more. I think this game is going to fall on the defense, and obviously, with the Blackshirts being given out last year, or at least being on the internet yesterday. We'll see where it's at.
Let's see where it's at. We will talk about the Blackshirts that were awarded yesterday. Give Jay some thoughts from me and Bach. See what he thinks about it. That'll be hour 2 and the only hour of Old School today. After this.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Oerman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Limitless Male says it's all fun and games until your testosterone plummets. Testosterone levels can start falling as early as age 30 with symptoms like no energy, poor sleep, brain fog, belly fat, muscle loss, and mood swings. If this sounds familiar, get your testosterone checked at Limitless Male. We'll get you back in the game with more strength, energy, and confidence. When you feel this good, you'll wonder why you waited so long to get a free consult at Limitless Male. Get scheduled today.
Saturday. Eagle Raceway is open for a full season of dirt track racing action every Saturday night. Don't miss the epic battles on the high banks of Eagle Raceway each Saturday between the Nebraska Septic Sprint Cars, Nebraska Lottery Modifieds, Avid Realty Sport Mods, Valentino's Hobby Stocks, and A1 Iron Stock Cars. Let's go racing. Eagle Raceway, just 10 miles east of Lincoln on O Street. Check out the full schedule at eagleraceway.com. It's game on at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Nebraska's premier power sports dealership. Stocking top models from Can-Am, Kawasaki, Honda, Polaris, CF Moto, Suzuki, Yamaha, Indian Motorcycle, Sea-Doo, and Triton trailers. Score big on our massive selection of Can-Am side-by-sides with rebates up to $3,000 on select in-stock models. Elway Power Sports of Lincoln has you covered all under one roof with a large selection of side-by-sides, ATVs, motorcycles, and personal watercraft at their 27th and I-80 location. They can't wait to get you set up for football season.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Schweizo Construction is now hiring for skilled craftsmen, steel erectors, concrete workers, and general laborers. Schweizo Construction offers great benefits like premium wages, health and dental insurance, paid holidays and vacation, 401k with company match, life insurance, and disability insurance. They pride themselves on a legacy of 40 years built on integrity and trust. Joining their team means becoming part of a family that values hard work, dedication, and mutual respect. Apply today at schwizo.com. That's SCHWISOW.com.
Hi, it's Charlie Stone and Andy Goodyear of Honda of Lincoln with more exciting news for area car buyers.
Charlie, it's just announced that Honda of Lincoln has won 3 of the Lincoln Journal-Star's Lincoln Choice Awards: Best New Car Dealer, Best Auto Repair, and Best Place to Get Your Oil Changed.
Wow, that's great, Andy. Anything else?
Yes, we were runner-up for Best Pre-Owned Dealer and Best Tire Dealer. A lot of people don't understand that we do sell tires here.
Very exciting, Andy. Why do you think your dealership is winning so many awards?
Charlie, we simply say it's the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business.
Looks like Honda of Lincoln is the great news headquarters for Lincoln.
Yes, and even all of Nebraska, we are also announcing that Honda of Lincoln's the only dealer in the state of Nebraska to win the prestigious Honda President's Award for 2024.
Honda of Lincoln, Nebraska's #1 volume Honda dealer, 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Load up on meat and more this spring at The Mercado by Certified Piedmontese, with great selections of T-bones, tomahawks, ribeyes, filet mignon, brisket, sirloin, and so much more. The Mercado has locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, where you can have $2 draft beer every Thursday night from 4 to 8 p.m. and half-price espresso drinks on Fridays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Get to the Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Anderson Ford in Lincoln has 2 convenient locations, which means 2 times the customer service, 2 times the inventory, and 2 times the ability to get you in the car of your dreams. Whether you visit us on the north side or the south side, you'll find more selection and a team that's always on your side. When you're looking for a better way to buy your next Ford, visit Anderson Ford in Lincoln, where exceptional service meets unbeatable selection.
I can't believe I just scratched that car. Find my insurance card.
Dude, what do you have in this glove box? Ew, are these socks dirty?
Oh, forget about the socks. I need my insurance card.
Just pull it up on the State Farm mobile app.
But I can do that? Oh, hey, I can do that.
Yep, it's called service.
I can file a claim on here too?
Yeah, it's called service.
Whoa, I can call my agent too?
It's called service.
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Krikak, today at 402-474-1173.
A lot of businesses say they're family focused, but when tough situations in life arise, the business wants anything but your best interests. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring, and they will always treat their employees like family, just as they do their customers. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring Class A and B CDL drivers, a shop tech, and a diesel mechanic. If you're looking for a career with a company that goes above and beyond to value you and your family, apply today at jamesenterpriseinc.com or call 402-432-6740.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School, sponsored by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman and Austin Oerman. Old School with Foreman and Oerman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
That's right. Welcome to it. Old School Hour 2, final hour on a Tuesday. Teammates Timeout with Demo, with Ash, with Coach Tom Osborne coming up here in just about an hour. 402-464-5685 if you want to be a part of this show or any show here on Ticket. Austin Oerman, Jay Foreman with you. You have the $30 to Wings and Rings to give away. 4313 was in with the right answer. Only one quarterback last year had a game with 425 passing yards and a different game with 125 rushing yards. It was Brendan Sorsby of Cincinnati. He threw.
That's why I knew there's always a method to your madness.
Oh, always. I'm not just pulling stuff out of nowhere. I try to give context clues.
Yeah. You definitely had me thinking. I was like, who the heck did something like that?
He threw for 426 in a 3-point loss on the road at Texas Tech in game number 5. He rushed for 143 yards on 13 carries in a 34-17 loss on the road at Iowa State. 66 passing yards on 18 attempts, 143 rushing yards on 13 attempts for Sorsby that day. Kind of crazy. Jay, you alluded to it. I think it's the perfect spot to lead off our conversation here at the 4 o'clock hour. Blackshirts handed out for Nebraska, officially announced on social media yesterday. 10 of them out of the 11 starters: Javen Wright, Sierra Wright, Marquise Buford Jr., Malcolm Hartzog Jr., Deshaun Singleton, Andrew Marshall, Elijah Judy, Dasan McCullough, Cam Lenhart, and Marquise Watson Trent. The 10 players that earned the Blackshirts. The 11th will go to the winner of the defensive tackle spot right now. That's coming down to Keona Davis or Jalen George. Your reaction to seeing those Blackshirts handed out and the players that received them?
I mean, I like it. I mean, I'm always down for for the guys to get their black shirts. I think, if you follow during the off season, they've all kind of, made it. You know what I'm saying? I don't think there's any surprises. I mean, I think, Watson Trent, I call him the law firm. I need to probably verify it with him if I can call him that. He's a linebacker. He'll give me a pass. Then you got Javen. I think, Javen's an example of, when he plays, he always, he's made some great plays. I think I remember the Wisconsin or Maryland game? He made the toe drag swag interception right on the sidelines a couple years. It was the last year.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Mm-hmm. And then wasn't he the one that made that diving punch out against someone?
Punch out. And, he's had some good moments. Obviously, battled, some things, physically that, he it was never on the field. It was just kind of, he had to, take care of it and, to have the stick-to-itiveness and then intestinal fortitude to come back and keep answering the bell. And he's a good kid. And obviously, a leader in that sense. When you talk about staying power, continue to fight to get something that you really are invested in. That's it. And so you got Cam Lenhart, who I think you could tell he was refocused all the way from the beginning of the offseason. And then you have Elijah Judy. That's the weight of the world is on him, and essentially this is his last year. Obviously, one of the top recruits in the nation when he came out, and then now this is a time where he can lead a D-line room. And then the back end, I think you have 5 guys that played a lot of football. Majority in the 3 have played a lot of football together. Hartzog, Buford, Singleton, and then throw in Wright as well because he's been here over a year, even though he came in late. And I think the guy that kind of was a sneaky transfer portal get is Marshall.
Yeah.
Mature, competitive, tough kid. So, everybody, I think, I don't think there was any surprises. I think, when you think about the guys that you want, you're waiting to see, whether Keona Davis and Riley Van Poppel get one. But I think I know people are probably asking, when or if they're going to get one. And then, players want that because I'm sure, look, they all worked hard. They all put in their best effort, and that was probably one of their short-term goals to get that. And obviously, if they continue to play well, they'll get it because Matt Rule and staff has shown if you earn it during the season, you will get a black shirt. And, I can kind of feel they're not the only 2. There's some other guys that feel like they're probably, wanted one and probably feel a little bit let down, but then inspired. And then you got to, go out there and play your best because it's the best part of it that you got to go play for your team. Because Shavers has one, right?
No, not a black shirt, but single digit. He and Van Poppel get voted single digits, but did not earn black shirts. They're not starters against Cincinnati.
I know exactly what that is, and this is different. And this is not to bring it about me, though. And
too late. Here we go again.
Well,
90s this, 90s that.
I asked Keith Mann the deal because it's still. I'm gonna be honest with you. What can we have a moment of truth?
Please, moment of honesty.
I hope Coach Osborne ain't listening right now because I got to see him and then I got to apologize. But you know what? I won this starting spot after spring as the redshirt freshman. Never missed a workout. Kind of was like, all right, I'm going to continue work. I haven't done anything yet, but I did all I could do, right? Get my butt kicked all year, win a starting spot. And then, you go through the summer, and I didn't know. I told this story like a week or so ago. They had the black shirt poster. Hey, I was not on there. I'm still pissed off about it. I ain't gonna lie. You know what? I gotta dial it back. I shouldn't be saying that. I'm still upset about it. Okay. To the point, I asked Keith Mann about it. Hey, Austin.
Please tell me Keith said that was on purpose.
No. I said, Keith. I said, were you here in '95? He said, yeah. Oh, I was like, oh, great. I said,
It's on. Here we go.
I said, who made the call for me not to be on the black shirt poster? And he looked at me like, you still asking me about you asking me about this that many years ago?
30 years
years ago.
Got 30th anniversary
And
coming up here.
And I said, yeah. And he said, let me check back on you. He's like, well, it seems like it was not a really good decision. You played, 9 years in the league. So it gave me a little bit of cherry on top. But moral of the story is, it made me want to go out there. And I told myself I'm never going to not be on it again.
Mm.
So, I think, for Shavers and Van Poppel and them, they're going to play.
Shavers, of course, dealing with the hammy.
Yeah, if he's able to play, he's going to play.
Mm-hmm.
And I know those guys. I don't know them well. Obviously I'm significantly older, but I know they're wired. They're going to go out and play well.
You brought up a couple guys that did earn them in Andrew Marshall and Marquise Watson-Trent. Feel like those are guys that just have kind of gotten glossed over throughout the offseason. We bring them up, right? Bach and I were talking about our under-the-radar Huskers, and Marshall and Watson-Trent were the first two guys on my list on defense.
Mm-hmm.
Watson-Trent just feels like he's been maybe overshadowed by the breakout people were expecting from Vincent Shavers, the Jacob Bauer story earning the scholarship over the spring. And then you look at Javen Wright, of course, being healthy, earning a starting linebacker spot. Jay, I think it's gone under discussed that Nebraska added a conference defensive player of the year to the room. And maybe some of that's maybe a little jaded from the lack of impact from Stephon Thompson last year. But man, it really seems like when you get a guy that has 3 straight years of 114 tackles or more, 6 forced fumbles, couple interceptions, and again, conference defensive player of the year in a conference where they're athletes in the Sun Belt, I feel like Mr. Law Firm has gone under the radar.
Yeah, I mean, it's, he's just, quiet as kept. And there's a lot of stories, obviously, day in and day out coming out of Nebraska. And so, just like a typical linebacker, you just show up and do your job. And obviously he's done it to the point to where he's awarded a black shirt, from his teammates or however their voting process is. The coaches have, I'm sure, a say in it as well. So the day in and day out, he's awarded, a black shirt. But, you get a guy that, has been very productive at the college level. Obviously, there's going to be adjustment for him, but obviously he's adjusted to the point that where they feel comfortable with him. I'm sure maybe potentially being their signal caller because he has the most experience doing it. And the leadership that he provides is obviously there. And obviously he had, the playmaking ability to be, a potential get for Nebraska in the portal.
Same thing for Marshall. Maybe it's the small school effect, but I feel like when we talked about Andrew Marshall when he first committed to Nebraska out of Idaho, it was, hey, imagine what he can bring as a returner. Oh, he was a returner at Idaho, punt return, kick return. That's what Andrew Marshall is going to be. Here he is, day one starter against Cincy, black shirt and everything. That tells me maybe we didn't take him seriously enough on the outside as a corner.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's one of those things that everybody tries to, get the answers to the test and project where guys are going to be. And he was a productive corner, before he, got all the press for, being a punt returner. And people don't realize, like at those schools, like Idaho and those type of schools, you have to have your best one. He obviously was one of their best athletes.
Mm-hmm.
You have to get the ball in his hands as many times as possible. He's not an offensive player. And so those are the splash plays, but I think also he came in and proved himself with the ability to not only cover, but then also probably play the run, but then also his work ethic.
Ted says 10 total tackles against Nebraska when he played for Georgia Southern and they came in and beat Nebraska. I think this guy's very underrated. 2563 says nobody has better stories than Foreman. Love it. Well, we should tell Jake Sorensen or Nick Sainert, hey, Hall of Fame story hour.
Yeah, Nick.
Hall of Fame story segment, whatever you want to call it. We can come up with a catchy name. It needs to be a thing. The people love the Foreman stories. The Foreman stories need a sponsor. That simple.
That is true. I just didn't like the story. I ain't like the story, man. Hey, man, my little feelings were hurt, man. I swear, I called my dad. I was hot. He was just laughing at me.
You just laughed? That's it?
Well, and that's not what he did. He was like, he didn't really. He was like, "What?" He's like, "How?" And then he just was like, then he, my dad always tried to use it as
Motivation,
Yeah.
fuel, fire,
Yeah.
what have you. Matt Rule spoke earlier today. Jay had a lot of interesting stuff to say. We'll have some NFL news I think we can get to in the next segment. But Matt Rule was asked, of course, about, hey, what does it look like for you guys when you go down to Kansas City? What's that going to be? Here is from Matt Rule, the official plan for Nebraska football as they get ready to go down to Arrowhead tomorrow.
Yeah, we're going to have the guys come in, have breakfast tomorrow. We'll practice tonight. Come in, have breakfast tomorrow. We'll meet and walk from 10 to noon, and we'll give them like 12 to 1 to get themselves settled, eat lunch. We'll get on the buses at 1. We're going to go right from here to Arrowhead. This will take about 3 hours. At the Arrowhead at 4:15, however that works out. We'll do a light walk through. This group of guys has really enjoyed seeing the visiting stadiums. So very light walkthrough. I mean, we try to see who can hit the goalpost with a football. The guys kind of mess around, just somewhere to get familiar with the scenario. Then we'll go to the hotel. We'll go see a team movie. They picked Superman, and then we'll have snack, and then get into our game day.
There's the game day plan for Nebraska. Matt Rule said, managing the waiting is the hardest part, and a big piece of that, Jay, is playing a power opponent to start the year. Matt Rule was asked about what Nebraska has learned from Matt Rule's first game, opening with Minnesota on the road in 2023. Here's about a 2-minute answer from Matt Rule.
That's a great question. I like playing power 4, power 5, I guess. Power 5 then, now power 4 maybe. I like playing a power 4 team to start. I think it makes your camp much more intentional. It gets everyone's attention early. I felt like that Minnesota game, I felt like we should have won it. We had it won. That being said, we weren't as far along, and I think I commented many times, I didn't have us as ready for the crowd noise and all the things that, the gold out at Minnesota would have. I sometimes say things like that, and I could probably put a caveat there, but it sounds weak. Like, we were working on a lot of other things. We weren't probably ready for all that. We were just trying to learn some basic things at the time. But I feel like I have gotten to my part. I've gotten the team ready in terms of situationally. We should be prepared for everything. And I think to their part, they are focused and paid a lot of attention to detail. Like we walked in this morning, Wish and I walked in this morning, and Isaiah Mosey's, sitting in the recovery tubs, and Isaiah's just sitting there. He's got his game book out. Like a lot of times you see guys looking at their phone or iPad. Like, he's got his game book out and he's like taking notes. I was like, all right, that's what our freshmen look like. That means that every room that the seniors are doing a good job, or in that case, in that room, damn it. So, so I feel confident that we'll play. And at the same time, also knowing the first game, you don't know what to expect. Like Cincinnati could come out, and it could be all 4 down. It could be all cover 0. It could be all, they could come out. They could have gone to high tempo. They could have, you don't know. So you have to have smart coaches and coordinators and players who can adjust on the fly. And I think we're prepared for that.
Long answer from Matt Rule. Jay, your takeaways from that as Matt Rule reflects on opening with Cincinnati like you opened with Minnesota a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's, this experience, I think, I always say Nebraska when, it's the biggest and the best job that you'll ever get. Now, you can't get much. Sure, it's all subjective, but you're not going to get much bigger than this, right? And you're playing in the Big Ten, the new Big Ten, on the road. Essentially, I call it the Minnesota Open, and that's where, because they always play that's their deal, and that's a part of how they built their program, on the road. And you're trying to just put get guys to walk and chew gum. And so the experience in year 3 going on not on the road, but you're not playing at home. And now the advantages is in Nebraska's favor as far as the amount of people in the crowd from Nebraska that's going to be there. We're favored. We probably have, I assume on paper, the more talented team. And so it's drastically different, but you still don't forget the lessons that you probably maybe have, learned in the things that you could probably, I call it trimming the fat for some of the younger players. It is an extremely young team, 91 guys that are sophomores or freshmen. So there is a lot of anxiety in that locker room and that football team. They don't have the experiences like, playing all these games and playing big time games. And, by the time I was like the second in 96, it was kind of like we're here to dominate. And, taking them down there tomorrow, and so they can kind of see the stadium, I think is good. That can kind of relieve some anxiety. I mean, I can remember flying down to Stillwater. We were playing on Thursday night, actually, and it was super hot. And me and Octavius McFarland, he had played the year before, so he kind of knew what I was going through. I was able to lean on him, even though we came in the same. I was extreme. I don't know. I have no problem telling you. I was nervous. I mean, but to go there, and we had our little walkthrough thing, really kind of trimmed the fat for me and made it less, stressful. So doing that and then going into a team movie and then getting into their game day prep is probably, you want to stay on routine. And then, as far as what Cincinnati's going to do, you got to have an idea. You can kind of look when they're in warm-ups, but at the end of the day, you just got to play your principles and you got to go out there and play football. Don't play passive, go play. You ain't got nothing. There ain't nothing to be like apprehensive about.
Matt Rule talked about that a little bit at his presser today too. I forget which cut it's in, but it was something to the effect of he made use of the word anxiousness instead of anxiety. In his mind, there's a difference where anxiety is worry, it's fear, it's being timid. He says, if you're anxious about the game, if you're ready for it to get here, it shouldn't make you timid when the time comes. It should make you excited, and you should be playing harder, playing faster, 110% effort, all that good stuff he normally talks about. Did you see that, in your teams, Jay, where everyone maybe had their own level of nerves before a game, but how then did it get channeled to the positive instead of to the negative, the passive, the timid?
I think I look at it like this, just from talking to, guys that coach in basketball, is like, there's nothing wrong with being nervous or being anxious. That's because you care. I'm nervous before every game. I like being anxious because I'm ready to fight. Like, I'm ready to go. Let's get it on. And so I like that. Anxiety can be where you try to play too perfect. I've done that too. And I've been in the season and come to realization that I was doing it, and then looking at myself, and you kind of look like a step slow, or you just kind of look like not yourself, and then you kind of have that reality check, and then everybody's like, "Hey, you look like a totally different player." Then they think like, "Oh, they're calling plays or nothing." That you maybe just get over that hump. And so there's a level of emotions that you're thinking, but look, you got to think these guys are hopefully playing this game 10 million times over in their head, and everybody has something to prove. There's a lot of hype around Nebraska. There's been a lot of talk. Now you got to go back it up, and it's not just one game. It's 12 games. It's a 12-week single chapter book that you want to have awesome reviews at the end of this book, and then be able to extend it into the foreshadowing, which would be the bowl game. So there's a lot that goes into it. I'm sure, look, you can also, you just want to have the confidence in your team to go out there and play. I believe in you guys. We're going to call the plays. You go execute them. Everything will be okay. That's not being, I don't know, cocky or arrogant. That's just saying, you know what? We've worked hard. We feel prepared. We feel good as a staff. We feel good as a group. Now let's go out there and play.
Your work will show when you get out there, right? You can trick yourself into thinking you've done the work, but you can also probably go the other way and worry too much that you haven't done enough work, and that's not going to be good enough. And sure, there's a very fine line between striving for perfection. Can I pick up one more tendency on film versus paralysis by analysis, playing too slow?
Yeah, I think sometimes, you can overthink it, but I think, look, Cincinnati's going to bite back too. This is a big game for them. You got to think, if I'm Coach Satterfield, I'm pumping in their brain like, man, nobody thinks you can win. I'm gonna have them like some like deranged lunatics. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm just gonna have it on a loop. They do. You think we're gonna? I was like, do you think we're gonna go all the way down there and lose? This is why we're not gonna lose. Both staffs and coaches are saying the same thing. The players are thinking the same thing. Cincinnati is not coming down here or to Kansas City thinking like, hey, we didn't had 30 days of practice. Let's get on a plane and go down there and get boat race.
Nah.
So you got to think you're going to get their best shot. They probably are trying to come out with some new wrinkles, which everybody does, but it just happens to be the first game, and so nobody knows. But really, when you get past that, the first 3 series, you're going to see something. After that, we got to play football. And you can't get over it, so look at my man right here.
Style.
Yeah, there he is. Look, Dude, is that tinted?
It's pretty hard to see it.
Oh.
I mean,
well, that's great.
They can see it.
Yeah,
but,
especially when you have sunglasses on.
Right.
But so I think that, as long as they get show, I mean, they just got to do what they got to do.
Last thing for this segment from Big Golf Guy. I'm surprised they're taking a bus to KC. Jay, what was the longest bus ride you took from Nebraska for a game?
I know we drove to Kansas State. I know we drove
That's not bad.
to Iowa State. So what is that? 3 hours, give or take?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm not surprised they're busing. I think it makes perfect sense rather than hopping on a plane to KCI, just have to get on a bus there.
Yeah, it just kind of depends, and you know what? It's a night game. Now, if it was a regular 11 or 2:30 game, then they would probably need to fly. Now, I think also
but they're also going tomorrow,
right? But this is part of it. Hey, we're going to, you can. It's kind of fellowship. It's very easy. You could go get to the airport, just look at your phone for 30 minutes, get on the bus when you get to Kansas City.
Look at your phone for another 30 minutes.
Another 30 minutes. You're in the hotel room. So, and plus I think they're on a pretty good. They got nice little setups on the bus. So they're not riding.
Are you saying nicer than your setup on the bus?
Our buses were nice for the time, but I'm sure but they're not riding school buses. Like in high school where you got your pads right there. And
Oh,
you're
heck
all,
yeah. Oh yeah.
And you had to wash your own pants, and some of them were, some kids you didn't understand that you need to, put a little bleach in there, in the pants. So I think they'll be all right. I think they'll be well prepared, and I think one of the things that's has to ring true is at this point there's 12 games. Okay, the most important one is in 2 days. You cannot care when, where, and how this game is going to be played. Any game.
Mm-hmm.
This is a no excuses. I don't care if the game's at 11
a.m. or p.m.
I don't care if it's at midnight. When it's time to kick off, you know exactly what we have to do, and you got to go out there and do it. You take that mentality. You look forward to the fight, and you just wondering, when the game's going to get over because you already know the outcome.
Mm-hmm. Some guys didn't know the outcome of NFL Cut Day.
Hey, man, hey.
That's that perfect reaction. That's why it's a
man.
perfect segment. Coming up next at 4:30.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Oerman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Load up on meat and more this spring at The Mercado by Certified Piedmontese with great selections of T-bones, tomahawks, ribeyes, filet mignon, brisket, sirloin, and so much more. The Mercado has locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, where you can have $2 draft beer every Thursday night from 4 to 8 p.m. and half-price espresso drinks on Fridays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Get to The Mercado today for the best meat in town.
Nebraska football opens their season on Thursday, August 28th in Kansas City, and you can be a part of the best pregame tailgate party with Blur Events, live from Kauffman Stadium, home of the Royals. Doors open 4 hours before kickoff with a live DJ promoting interactive competitions and giveaways, tailgate games like cornhole, flip cup, and beer pong, access to ballpark concessions, and available air conditioning. Book your tickets today at blurevents.com/Kansas City and hang with 93.7 The Ticket on the scene prior to Nebraska versus Cincinnati on August 28th.
Finally, a good reason to have a smart house. Just say, Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket, and we'll magically start playing. How's it work? Nobody knows. Don't ask questions.
MWR is dedicated to building attractive, affordable steel buildings that exceed your expectations. From commercial to residential to agriculture storage, steel buildings are cost-effective, attractive, and versatile. Plus, they're a lasting investment and an ideal choice. MWR uses Sentinel Building Systems out of Albion and can service you all over the state and region. If you have interest in a steel building, post-frame building, or fencing, give MWR a call today at 402-980-5273 or go to mwrbuildingandfence.com.
Play ball!
Ready for summer fun and ballpark vibes? Bring your pack to Haymarket Park for a thrilling season of Lincoln Salt Dogs baseball and unleash the fun. From May through August, the Lincoln Salt Dogs will be playing and the park will be popping with all the food, drinks, and fun you need for the perfect night out. Grab your friends, family, and coworkers and make plans now. Visit saltdogs.com to secure your tickets. Come on out to the park and unleash the fun.
Are you tired of living in pain? At Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, they make it simple. From head to toe, spine to extremities, they've got you covered. Their multi-specialty team of experts in orthopedic surgery, plastic surgery, podiatry, physical therapy, and occupational therapy all work under one roof to get you back to living life pain-free. Don't wait another day. Visit prairie-ortho.com today or call them at 402-489-4700. Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, where healing begins.
Hi, it's Charlie Stone and Andy Goodyear of Honda of Lincoln with more exciting news for area car buyers.
Charlie, it's just announced that Honda of Lincoln has won 3 of the Lincoln Journal-Star's Lincoln Choice Awards: Best New Car Dealer, Best Auto Repair, and Best Place to Get Your Oil Changed.
Wow, that's great, Andy. Anything else?
Yes, we were runner-up for Best Pre-Owned Dealer and Best Tire Dealer. A lot of people don't understand that we do sell tires here.
Very exciting, Andy. Why do you think your dealership is winning so many awards?
Charlie, we simply say it's the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business.
Looks like Honda of Lincoln is the great news headquarters for Lincoln.
Yes, and even all of Nebraska, we are also announcing that Honda of Lincoln's the only dealer in the state of Nebraska to win the prestigious Honda President's Award for 2024.
Honda of Lincoln, Nebraska's #1 volume Honda dealer, 27th and Yankee Hill Road, or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
I can't believe I just scratched that car. Find my insurance card.
Dude, what do you have in this glove box? Ew, are these socks dirty?
Oh, forget about the socks. I need my insurance card.
Just pull it up on the State Farm mobile app.
But I can do that? Oh, hey, I can do that.
Yep, it's called service.
I can file a claim on here too?
Yeah, it's called service.
Whoa, I can call my agent too?
It's called service.
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Krikak, today at 402-474-1173.
A lot of businesses say they're family focused, but when tough situations in life arise, the business wants anything but your best interests. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring, and they will always treat their employees like family, just as they do their customers. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring Class A and B CDL drivers, a shop tech, and a diesel mechanic. If you're looking for a career with a company that goes above and beyond to value you and your family, apply today at jamesenterpriseinc.com or call 402-432-6740.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law and find out how we can help you get the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Call the trial attorneys you can trust. 877-42-LIBERTY.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Oerman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in. It is Old School, brought to you by the Mercado by Certified Piedmontese. Our 4:30 segments are brought to you by Heartland of Nebraska Windows. They're based out of Hallam, Nebraska, and they offer free estimates, full window replacements, all vinyl triple pane windows, and a lifetime warranty on everything while keeping their prices affordable. They're locally and family owned with their own team of installers, not contracting out, their own team of installers. Give them a call today for more info at 402-430-3852. Or visit them online at heartlandofnebraskawindows.com. Jay, I feel like I should have probably offered you a tomahawk steak or something from the Mercado, given the way I dropped the NFL cut day news on you to end our last segment. You can be good. You can make it through the segment over there. I'm not cutting you mid-segment if that's what you're worried about.
No, I'm going to be all right. I'm going to be all right, man.
Talk about cut day. Like, experiencing it comes, it goes. You're on the roster, you're off the roster.
Yeah,
What's cut day like?
I was able to skate it, be okay for 7 straight, and so I got hurt, and then I signed with the Raiders, and and the Raiders are always tricky.
You don't say.
They're always tricky. Yeah, this is when Al Davis was still alive. So my agent did a good job of essentially hedging our bet, right? And so I got some, got some show up money or whatever, and so they, so I was coming off, I was rehabbing and then not really practicing or whatever. And then it came down to the last game and I kind of knew what it was. I just wanted to kind of get, I wanted to make the team. I mean, let's not be stupid about this. And, I don't even know if the Raiders, I remember Ricky Dudley was out there and he was a former first round pick and he had played for the Raiders. And so I kind of talked to him a few times and he was just like, dude, this is the craziest organization ever. He's like, you ain't got to worry about making a team. I already kind of know. I've already seen this before. Right. And he was towards the end of his career, you know, and he could still run and he was still viable. They just weren't giving him a chance. So I don't even know, like at that point, I think they called my agent. You know what I'm saying? Because I played a good preseason game. I think they called my agent. So I went back home, obviously. So there wasn't any conversation there. And then I, obviously, ended up with the Giants and then kind of just was a hired mercenary after that.
Let's talk about those first 7 years, though. You make it, you're safe. Were there ever any nerves that you weren't going to make it? Were there close calls that you know of?
Oh, well, my first year, you fifth round draft choice. They already had two legitimate starters at inside linebacker. Marlo Perry essentially was a starter. He was a third down linebacker and a great special teams player. And I think they had another inside linebacker that Bruce DeHaven really liked. I think his name was Joe Simmons or something like that. Could run and was a core special teams guy and had played a couple years before there. And here I am. And they were kind of set at outside linebacker as well. So they generally kept 8. I had to make them keep 9. And it came down to, one of my best friends, he's unfortunately passed away in a freak accident, Keon Carpenter. He was a free agent. I'm from Frederick. He's from Baltimore. I've been knowing him my whole life. We kind of made a play against the Bengals. I think I tackled him. Keon ripped it out or vice versa. That was our, you got to make it on special teams. So it's a close call whether, for me, I felt like, and Keon, because I think Keon was on the practice squad. They already told him he was going to be on the practice squad. And Buffalo like to keep their guys on the practice squad. And they never told me anything. So I was like, they might be trying to get rid of him, brother. I ended up making it. And then, obviously progress from there. And I don't think I ever was going to get cut my 4th year with Greg. But I needed to start. And so, like I always talk about, Miles Alders came up to me and he was like, before we played Pittsburgh, he's like, you better have a good game tonight. You know what I'm saying? As I'm rolling in and I played fine in the preseason, but I was a starter, so I never got any action. So we played Philly, and I think I played 4 plays because you played a quarter. Then we played somebody else, and we were like, we're driving the ball so much offensively. We didn't get a lot. It was like halftime, starters are out. So I never really got a chance to get busy. And some of the back, you get some guys that are playing against Willie Lumps. They're like, oh,
Right.
he's. And, the next thing you know, and I know that there was a connection with the guy that was behind me. And then they had drafted Corey Moore, who was definitely a better pass rusher than me. Then obviously he was one of the best pass rushers at that time in Virginia Tech's history. And then he came up to me. He was like, hey, I'll never forget it, man. I wanted to punch him in his face, He was like, you better do something tonight. I was like, say less, because I've been waiting to get busy.
Yeah.
And it all worked itself out. But I had the anxiety of, because I was going into a potential contract year. I'd played well up until then. We got a new regime and they weren't paying anybody. Antoine Winfield could have been redone. Myself, Peerless Price, nobody. And so I think that's where my anxiety came from. I knew I had done well enough that I would get another chance. If it didn't work out there, I would get another chance immediately. But one thing led to another, and then after that. So, but I would tell you one thing about cut day. This is where there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. And you see guys, the Buffalo Bills were always very respectful for guys, and they were well up front actually before that last preseason game with some of the guys. Like I said with Keon. I went to Houston, man, and I would never forget this. And me, my man Gary Walker, Andre, and we went up there to Mr. McNair after this. And what they used to do is, You play that last preseason game generally on a Friday. They bring you back Sunday, practice you Monday. Tuesday's a mandatory day off. And they could maybe so they would practice this on Monday. So they practice you, they meet, practice you, and then you still have the roster. Like they make the guys that for sure cut, but they still got some guys lingering around. Well, then you got a team meeting afterwards. Well, while the team meeting is going on, they're bringing in dudes that got cut for tryouts. Well, they were clipping guys off while we were in the team meeting, pulling them out of there.
Yeah.
Pulling them out of there. And we went up to, the GM at the time and said, man, you can't do that. And they did. Dom changed it. Dom was not aware of it. He hadn't gotten into the meeting yet. So I've seen things like that. It's not a good day.
What's it like being in the facility when you've made the team and, half the practice is just gone?
Hey, one thing my agent told me, don't make friends.
Tough advice, but
no, because he's like, in your rookie class, we had 6 or 7. There's going to be one of them going to be gone. That was true. You get too emotionally attached with guys that can kind of get it in the way of you playing, and that's the same way that they were probably thinking about if it was me. Now, Sean Bryce is one of my best friends, and we played together. Keith Newman's still a great friend. Peerless and Antoine are still, great friends and stuff like that. And I was fortunate, Sheldon Jackson was a teammate from college we played. So I was very fortunate in that sense. But I also think that, like, you could be, you could be like roommates on the road, and then, so you're spending time together, because the games are generally at night. You get there during the day and the night before, you play that following night. Spend a lot of time, kind of, getting to know somebody, and then next thing you know, they're gone, just like that.
I was going to say the flip side of that is congratulations to John Bullock, to Thomas Fidone. We mentioned them yesterday making rosters, but without speaking for you, I would guess some of your advice is you made this roster, but there's a reason NFL can also stand for not for long.
No, it's not for long. You're week to week, especially when you're a rookie, because they can kind of turn you over a lot. You're not a vested veteran where when you're on the roster as of Wednesday, then you're good for the rest of the season. So, it's one thing to make it, which is great. For both of them, it's a huge feat. Fidone battles some injury history and, at times, wasn't able to be as productive as he liked. He was able to go and take a spot from Dulich, who was actually a decent tight end. But Fidone made some plays and outplayed him, and he's cheaper, right?
Yeah.
Now, Dulich will get picked up, right? And that's fine. He might find a better opportunity for him. And then with Bullock, he didn't get drafted. He came and he earned his spot. But, I felt almost a little bit better for him, about him making it because of the versatility, the toughness, the athletic ability, and the speed, and then also the need.
Sure.
A backup linebacker that can play special teams, that can play all 3 stack linebacker positions, can play on third down, a tough kid, accountable. And so he just needed a legit opportunity, and he made his way onto the team.
On that front, in terms of the Colts, right, I was looking at that. I mean, they still had like 90 dudes in camp going into today. Khalil Herbert, offseason signing, kind of thought he would have been RB3 on that roster. He's gone. Chris Layman's has started some game for them at corner. He's gone. Other names, Wesley French. He had French and Fries. Of course, Will Fries signed with Minnesota alongside Ryan Kelly, man, I wish Ryan Kelly nothing but the best. He was kind of the rock alongside Quentin Nelson after the Costanzo retirement, right? We talk about the Colts quarterback situation. I do kind of wonder, Jay, what an Anthony Costanzo could have done for a guy like Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, for him, and didn't they have Fisher too?
Well, he was at the end of his career, just kind of hanging on, but he wasn't there.
But he had started to play well for the Colts, and he played well for the Colts, and he was playing well for the Chiefs. And Costanzo's retirement was out of nowhere. He was actually starting to, I felt like, to catch his stride. Now I know he has some injury histories, but that offensive line is what it. That's it. Tyreek Glenn for Peyton Manning. I mean, those are freaking frack. Jeff Saturday. All those guys. That's how you build that continuity. And I know you saw that Phillip Rivers is going into the Hall of Fame for the Chargers. All those linemen. When they talked about how many years they played with Phillip Rivers, all of them were 6+ years.
Yeah,
that's the continuity, and that's how you get production. So, cut day is never fun. you feel for those guys, but also think that, you deal with it, but then you also continue to work. You got to work while you wait, because if you got good tape, if you put good tape on in practice now, and then in the preseason game, you'll get other opportunities, and you got to be in shape and you got to be ready. And then whatever you could have learned from the prior stop, take it with you, get better at it. And then you could turn that into, a long career. I mean, you think about James Harrison.
Sure.
He was cut by the Ravens and he goes to Pittsburgh. I don't know if he's going to make the NFL Hall of Fame, but he'll be in the Pittsburgh Steelers Hall of Fame.
Oh, like that.
Right.
Real quick.
And he was cut by the Baltimore Ravens.
One of the few bad decisions Baltimore's made, but not like they didn't have a
Well, they had guys,
position.
but I'm just saying, it could be a numbers thing.
Yeah.
For me, if I in Buffalo, it would have been a numbers thing. Marlo Perry was a great linebacker, straight up. And Sam Cowher was great. He taught me a lot. John Holisek taught me a lot. They're two young guys, and I just had to, kind of like John Bogle, make my way onto the roster.
Good stuff on NFL Cut Day. We'll be back, wrap up Old School after this. Get you set up for Teammates Timeout. Coach Tom Osborne in the building at 5.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Oerman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Make this your best football season yet with help from Limitless Mail. If you're struggling with low energy, muscle loss, brain fog, belly fat, mood swings, it's likely low testosterone, and Limitless Mail can fix that. We've helped over 100,000 men feel stronger, leaner, sharper, and more like themselves again. Don't sit on the sidelines this season. Take control. Book your free consult today at limitlessmail.com. That's limitlessmail.com.
Have you been injured in an accident and don't know where to turn? You need an attorney you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. The attorneys at Liberty Law Group understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you've been injured, we want to help you. Liberty Law's experienced attorneys are committed to the pursuit of justice for those injured. Call Liberty Law and find out how we can help you get the compensation you deserve. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Call the trial attorneys you can trust. 877-42-LIBERTY.
I can't believe I just scratched that car. Find my insurance card.
Dude, what do you have in this glove box? Ew, are these socks dirty?
Oh, forget about the socks. I need my insurance card.
Just pull it up on the State Farm mobile app.
But I can do that? Oh, hey, I can do that.
Yep, it's called service.
I can file a claim on here too?
Yeah, it's called service.
Whoa, I can call my agent too?
It's called service.
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinny Krikak, today at 402-474-1173.
Are you tired of living in pain? At Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, they make it simple. From head to toe, spine to extremities, they've got you covered. Their multi-specialty team of experts in orthopedic surgery, plastic surgery, podiatry, physical therapy, and occupational therapy all work under one roof to get you back to living life pain-free. Don't wait another day. Visit prairie-ortho.com today or call them at 402-489-4700. Prairie Orthopedic and Plastic Surgery, where healing begins.
Constructors is now hiring for all positions, with pay starting at $23 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offers great pay, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
Rick Heyman here from Sartor Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. Visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at SartorHeyman.com.
Sartor Heyman Jewelers.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
A lot of businesses say they're family focused, but when tough situations in life arise, the business wants anything but your best interests. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring, and they will always treat their employees like family, just as they do their customers. James Enterprise Incorporated is hiring Class A and B CDL drivers, a shop tech, and a diesel mechanic. If you're looking for a career with a company that goes above and beyond to value you and your family, apply today at jamesenterpriseinc.com or call 402-432-6740.
Hi, I'm Casey Oddie, and I'm the Retail Banking Manager at your local Midwest Bank branch on 70th and Pioneers Boulevard. Banking may be my job, but supporting the community is what I care most about. Whether I'm showing up at local events, partnering with schools, or helping people reach financial milestones, I am proud to be a part of what makes Lincoln strong. Let's build something together. Stop by and say hi. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank. Member FDIC.
At Schwezo Construction, safety isn't just a policy, it's a promise. Build with us. Work safe, go home proud. We're hiring skilled craftsmen, laborers, concrete workers, and steel erectors who value quality work and a team that has your back, on and off the job site. If you're ready to be part of a company where your safety and success come first, visit Schwezo.com. That's SCHWISOW.com and apply today. Schwezo Construction, 40 years strong and still building the future.
When the clock strikes 0 after every Nebraska football game, there's only one place to go for instant coverage. Tune in for the Husker After Party Postgame Show on 93.7 The Ticket for each game, win or lose. Call in with all your takes or text the show at 464-5685 and hear quotes from the players and coaches too. It's the Husker After Party Postgame Show, sponsored by Anderson Ford and Vinny Kreekak of State Farm Insurance. Back to old school with Foreman and Oerman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Oh, we're wrapping up old school. Austin Norman, Jay Foreman with you. Final segment brought to you by Love Volleyball Nebraska. They just rebranded as Love Volleyball Nebraska. To renew your season tickets or secure them for the first time, visit lovb.com to make sure you get your seats to watch Olympians, national team players, and former Huskers all take the court for Love Volleyball Nebraska. Speaking of love, Jay, it's in the air. Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift, they're engaged, and all the good news has passed the city of Cincinnati. Now it's nightmares time on Thursday.
Yeah, man. Yeah, well, congrats to him. He had no other choice.
He did not have any other choice.
Listen, you threw a half court, a 3/4 court, no look 3-pointer swish to win the NBA championship on how you got her attention, and you 2 years in, you better. What else you gonna do?
What else?
You ain't upgrading. Congratulations, Travis. You all kicked your coverage officially.
We'll see what the ceremony is. Here's the real question, though, Jay. Can the Chiefs' offense be good enough that we talk about them for football again?
Yeah, they can if everybody's healthy. They can. You got Patrick Mahomes, and you got I think Travis Kelce is more motivated. I think obviously there's a lot of obligations that go in, I'm assuming, to a relationship like that. And obviously he had, he's in a movie and other stuff, but, obviously he came back for a reason. He's got a lot of other, I think he probably feels, kind of got it all into, he's probably used to her stardom because she's iconic. No matter what you think about her, she's iconic. He's a star, kind of navigating that. And now they're obviously official and so forth and so on. So, yeah, I think they can, especially if he's still a problem. I mean, he had a down year and had like 900 yards.
Mm-hmm.
He's still a problem.
You think Brian Kelly gets a wedding invite?
Who, you talking about the LSU coach?
Talking about the LSU coach.
What did he do?
Former Cincinnati head coach, Jay.
He ain't getting, no. The way he left Cincinnati, he ain't doing it.
But it doesn't matter who left Cincinnati.
No,
it matters how he left Travis Kelce.
It's Tuberville how he left.
Yeah, Tuberville, yeah.
Yeah, he might. More importantly, though,
Butch Jones.
Negative.
I'm just saying, it's a possibility.
More importantly, is this: I'm sure they're going to have a compound or compounds of places that I'm sure Travis has a nice house, and I'm sure if they have a central place is going to be a compound. But it's heavily guarded. Where is he going to walk when he's mad because she's mad at him because he forgot to take out the garbage? Who's he going to talk to?
Ooh, you can't vent on the podcast.
Yeah.
Not going to happen.
I guess he could call his brother.
Maybe.
Call my homies.
Just make sure Kylie's not listening.
But do you think
that's getting shared?
You think he's going to talk to one of the security guards?
Ooh, probably.
I forgot to take on. You think he do his dishes? You better have them dishes doing. Hey, when I get back from
make sure
Europe on this tour, you better make sure that room is vacuumed. Remember when I sent you that email? Did you get my?
If Brian Kelly gets an invite, what accent does he use from Tommy?
Hey, you know what he's going to do? He's going to start trying to sing one of her songs.
Oh boy, yeah,
yeah, man. Brian Kelly, boy, listen.
I
know Nebraska's going to get that party started. He better hope Dabo don't pull a wool over his eyes come Saturday night.
Cash bar at the wedding?
It better what? It better be
full service.
Yeah.
Imagine cash bar though. Are you doing dollar dance?
No comment. Travis Kelce, it better be open bar. I'm gonna tell you that wedding's gonna be so high priced and so like high society, you might not even want to eat. It's like when you used to go to my like grandma's and aunt's house and they had plastic on the couch.
True.
Yeah, you don't make no mess.
3 hours of old school tomorrow, 3 to 6, getting you set up for Nebraska and Cincinnati. For Jay, I'm Austin. We got teammates coming up next year on the ticket.